All right, everyone, and welcome to the European Open League playoffs. And of course, we do have Leisure taking on Outcast. It's going to be myself and Kaiser to bring you through the action. Dark's going to be on the keyboard in the background. And I'd say, Kaiser, that we have a little bit of a mismatch here.
Yeah, it can definitely be seen now. You saw Leisure, obviously, at Epic Land, third place. Massive, massive hype around this team. And of course, they got hyped themselves. They got confidence going into this. So really, we should be seeing a quick 2-0. But it'll be interesting to see if they can carry on that hype from LAN onto online scene, because it's always different.
Yeah, but it's a little bit easier maybe with the chemistry, etc. When you haven't been a team for very long, when you are actually beside each other, you can kind of see each other's screens, you can communicate, you can see the body language, etc. But I feel like Leisure, they definitely had the strategy behind them as well. They all looked very good in the fragging department, and if they can keep that up, it's certainly going to be a difficult game here for Outcast. And to kick things off, it looks like Leisure are going to be heavily favouring over towards that A bomb site, which is not a very common trend. I mean, there is still 3 players nearby for the Axe's side, but bomb should be getting planted. Reese putting in some good cover, takes the damage, and now will just allow himself to regen that health. So it's going to come into that 5-on-5 after plant now. And there's no real utility apart from just that one smoke on the Suma.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can deploy it, but it doesn't really matter. Valhalla does get the first frag, and frag's definitely going in favor of Outcast as they got control of the site. Just leaving 2 players left alive on Leisure. And they just can't get it done. It was an interesting strategy. I think we saw something similar at Epic where they get the plant and then leave the site. And I believe it worked just as great as it did right here where they couldn't really get the frags going. Because that's really important when you got the bomb down. You need to try and get control straight away. Try and keep that control and just do a rotating defense. But they just fell back straight away and just couldn't do any damage after.
Yeah, almost had a little bit of a recovery there from, I believe it was Myland and someone else, of course, who ended up picking up a kill. Rejects, yeah. But in the end, it wasn't quite enough. Of course, Myland left, and that 1-on-3 was pretty much pinned down at the bottom of the steps. If he managed to win it from that position, it would have been a bit of a miracle. Smoke down towards mid does allow for the allies to cross early on. They've taken a bit of a safer approach here. They've gone for just a full buy of carbines. They've got some smokes on the players who picked up the kills to have a bit of extra money as well. But they're ensuring that coming into the next round that they are going to have a very strong buy. Their goal right now, maybe get a few kills, and I would say most importantly, try and get that bomb down as well.
Let's see early on. Interesting, because they actually left one back in spawn. They finally have picked it up. And it just shows that they was just trying to go for picks, really just trying to limit the defense of what they can have, because you don't want that hacker still on that STG, or those MP40s still in play, especially on this map where it's just all close range calls. You can use those MP40s to their maximum.
Apologies, had a bit of a technical difficulty there. My mic fell. Oh, Fuckerman able to take down Hacker Skyder. So a nice catch finally being found. I mean, it's very late in the round before the first blood is actually shed, and it should be traded back pretty easily. Well played by Outcast to ensure that they go for that double peek there on middle. The bomb in the meantime over towards speed. A nice kill actually coming in from Reese somehow. Caesar will trade it back but goes down. Reese again stepping it up. And it allows now for the allied side to actually have a man advantage coming into the after plan. Again, the weaponry not in the most amazing position. Reese actually had an MP40 that he retrieved, but unfortunately he goes down now, leaving it in the 2-on-2. But he had sold a bit of a fake. And was actually down over towards that A-bomb site. I kind of missed out on a little bit. As I said, my mic fell, so I was scrambling around trying to get it fixed for a minute.
Yeah, but right now he's Outcast gonna lose this round. It seems like it's all on to Sumax. And he does manage to get the first frag onto Mylan. He even got a smoke, but the bomb's on the other side. Surely this is gonna help Rejects.
Oh
no.
Did he
I think he has time.
Yeah, I think he may have just about grabbed it in time. It's definitely going to be a close one. Oh, yeah, just about. I was so close. I was having a little bit of a struggle in the smoke, actually, finding the bomb. But, I mean, although that round didn't go in favor of Leisure, it looked like it probably should have.
Yeah, it definitely should have. Like, they had the control of the site. They got the first frag onto the player attacking. And, of course, it went down to a 1 versus 1. But they did so much damage there. You thought they surely would win that round, especially since they took so many weapons away from their opponents. They all went down to Sumax. And then it went down to 0.2 of a time.
I do feel like it was a very successful round, though, considering what they went into.
Yeah.
I think they had 2 smokes and 5 carbines. And, of course, coming into this round with a great buy, but it's not making much of a difference. Hacker Sky not even rocking the card, doesn't need the scope or the iron sights. It's instead the SDG that he manages to pick up 2 with at ease over in Cinema. Caesar realizing now that he doesn't really have to force that issue anymore now that they have the 2-man advantage. Maybe a little bit more willing to give it up. He also, of course, wants to kind of stick around and at the very least find the info before he's going to force the retreat. You don't want to give up the position in too easy. And I think now he realizes that is the case. He kind of has to go back. Headbangery, though, catching one from lower Cinema. So kind of working well in conjunction with each other here over on the B side of the map.
But this is definitely going to be difficult. Even if Headbanger can get that first play, there's still that player in Fantasy or Rubble that's going to cause some issues. And finally, we're going to see Leisure peek out, and they just don't check Fantasy, and they were allowed to go for these frags. And Buckerman is the only one alive, and he has to really save. Just keep this scope into play and take down as many guns as he can. But definitely a misplay at the start of that round, not smoking mid, and 2 players going off so easily. From Hacker, you have to have some questions on this Leisure lineup into this first few rounds.
Yeah, maybe taking them a little bit of time to warm up, but I don't know. It's been interesting. They looked pretty good in the round where they didn't have a lot to work with. They come into this one, just get picked apart immediately. And I mean, the smoke that they put down on mid, they even done that on the previous round. So it's not like they don't know how to do it. So it was interesting. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication. Maybe someone thought it had been thrown out already, and then at that point, the second player just trying to ensure they at least found a trade ended up going down as well. But I'm not sure. It looked like they were kind of just both trying to cross. But yeah, 3-0 coming in. A good lead here for Outcast to kick things off. Leisure at this point calling in a pause to have a bit of a discussion about what's going wrong. Positive is they have a decent amount of money, apart from on towards Fuckerman. Okay, he does have 5 tokens now. I think Headbangery actually donated them over to him because he started the round with 1 token. Able to get the scope into play, but of course Headbangery, because of that having to sacrifice, they're not going to have a lot of utility if they want to get decent weapons. Not a great position to be in.
Definitely not, and it just went back to that previous round where they just didn't smoke mid, which is so important on this map. You always have to smoke mid pretty much just to get across, or if you do want to peek it, you have your scope player peeking, which neither of them did. They just jumped across, and it was just easy kills for Hacker. And I have to give props to Outcast in that round where they did kill Fuckerman right at the end after time, taking away that scope as well as not letting him have any tokens go into the next round. Lucky for Leisure, they were able to donate him some more tokens to get that scope positioned in second mid, but no one's really peeking, and Outcasts are actually playing this really, really well.
Yeah, it's just a default pretty much at the moment from Leisure, split across the map, hoping that they're going to be the ones that find an opening. That's the issue when you're trying to advance forward, when you're doing so and you're not really in positions to work off of each other. If you do end up going down, there's not a chance for the trade to come in. That's exactly what's happened over towards Long. Valhalla picking up a very easy pick towards Myland, and with that a man advantage being found. A nice shot though by Headbangery, living up to his name as he takes down Caesar over towards that B bomb site and gives them a bit of an opening. They do still have a couple of, or rather 1 smoke to work with, so they can block off at least these double doors right here, and indeed that should negate the impact of Hacker Sky for at least a couple of seconds, so a chance to plant that bomb is going to be there.
Sumax able to survive barely there, but Hacker's managed to find his way in, getting 2 quick frags onto Reese and Fuckerman being such an important player, which we saw him at LAN, being the one which gets those frags, and this time not able to do anything. Because now it's a 4 versus 2. Rejects alone on site. He has to go massive.
Yeah, Outcast just continuing to impress right now. Valhalla as well, being one of those players especially that is standing out. Finding himself a couple of kills there in that round, takes down Rejects, and then Remes comes in to finish off Headbangery, so plenty of time on the defuse this time. No sweat to be had. 4 players surviving as well, a convincing round here from Outcast, and a convincing start to this matchup so far. Again, similar money in this round for Leisure, so they probably will pull out a buy. We need to start seeing something different from them. Although they're able to get this bomb down time and time again, we see strong retakes from Outcast. It doesn't even seem like they use a lot of utility in them. Sure, they had a couple nades, but they didn't really affect anything. It was when they went in, they threw down maybe 1 smoke or so, just winning out the aim duels, ensuring that they're always working together and just kind of overwhelming everyone. And that's it's certainly been an issue. The buy for Leisure, it's decent again. Couple of carbines, unfortunately, going to be in play, but Myland finding them a quick opening on the nade. Headbangery traded back in Cinema, and at least not immediately is there anyone ready to follow it up.
Leisure pushing into the B side. Finally, Sumax is fallen by Fuckerman. This is where he can start opening, but shot through the smoke and double doors. This Leisure line just seems like they're just getting slightly unlucky in some of these rounds. They are making it slightly competitive in this one, as it is a 2 versus 2, and they do have B side control, so they could go for this plant. But look at what Remis is doing. Flanking all the way round. Rejects is checking it at least. It's Remis who wins that duel, as now it's all up to Reese. 1 versus 2. All that Outcast needs to do is push in together, and Remis getting with great timing, but Caesar falls, and Reese's managed to escape with his life into Ticket, making it 1 versus 1. Can he win the duel? No, he cannot. Massive round from Remis, getting the first initial frag on that B side, and then getting the following 2.
Bomb defused.
They just continue to
Yeah.
edge out these rounds. Either they do it convincingly, or else it comes down to a position where it looks like Leisure have the round and Outcast just about managed to pull it. It's been so close. Leisure, they need to start picking up these rounds, though. They're down 5-0, and this is a map where normally Leisure look pretty decent on the Allied side. Normally, in general, Leisure have looked pretty good on the Allied side, so it's a bit worrying. As you said, Fuckerman, a player that they rely on heavily to frag. Right now, everyone's kind of putting up the same performance, and unfortunately, it's just not quite enough. They're ranging from 2 to 3 frags. Smoke will go down again. The spam from Hacker Sky, hoping to get lucky. Not really going to be able to find anything, but they did at the very least delay that cross a little bit over towards B. Smoke's going down, though. Should still allow for quite a bit of advancement from the Allied side. Not really going to be anything to immediately stop it, although as I say that, they are for the moment being held off. The player pushing up on mid, although they did find the cinema control pretty quickly. It is also brought back in favor of Outcast, but an opportunity right now for Fuckerman. Is he aware of the fact that there's a second player here as he peeks out? He should be pretty soon. Gets one. Hacker Sky quickly coming back with the trade yet again, though. It's just back and forth continuously between these two in this round. But there we go. Caesar, he's being called in for support. Oh, that was dangerous.
It was very dangerous, and you thought maybe for a second Fuckerman would be able to do something, but it's Leisure on the back first. They try and take down Caesar, but Caesar's causing so much trouble, even taking down Mylan. And you really need both of these players to survive, and they got some sort of telltale sign it's going to be A, as you got Hacker watching Mud, then you got Sumex pushing in from the other side, holding off a B tank, well, mid tank. There's Reese. He's he's going to try and do a little bit of a fake, smoking A to try and pull off that player which is on the B, but the B player is just not moving at all.
Oh, there we go, though. Reese trying to rotate back around, gets caught by the player who's just been hiding up against tank. So 6-0, another relatively close round, but Outcast, they just continue to shine. Leisure, they should continue to buy at the very least, but they need to start picking up some rounds. This is very surprising. Do we know whose map choice this is, or is it kind of just...
Yeah, it's Leisure's map choice.
It is Leisure's map pick, okay. Well, as you'd expect, Coastal getting brought out there pretty quickly. Leisure looked pretty impressive on Atlanta just in general, so...
Yeah, it's just slightly disappointing to see Leisure falling a little bit flat in these first early rounds, especially when you saw some bright spots in the play. Now they're going back towards A, and Remy says straight off the bat, getting that first frag and pulling back. That's the type of good team play which you want to see. Getting the frag and pulling back even further. It's that rotating defense I was talking about before, and he manages to get 2 more before he finally taken down. And he alone just did all the damage. Mylan trying his best, but his best is just not going to be good enough, as Caesar will take down Mylan, making it 7-0. And Remy's, what a round from him, I have to say. He did that rotating defense, which I like to see. When you go for a frag, pull back, allow your opponents to get that map control, and then get even more frags. The fact that he managed to get 2 more after that, that's even incredible in my eyes. And that's just going to help his team with the economy, since utility is so important on this map. You see 5 nades, 5 smokes. The other side barely got any weaponry. At least they got some utility to work with. So far, it hasn't been very impressive, especially when they fall to a nade headbangery. I feel a little bit sorry for this Leisure lineup.
Ooh, Hacker's guy managing to actually get a nade over there to pick up the opening, well, the second opening kill, I suppose, for them. Is Headbangery and Fuckerman, who've been eliminated early on, and I'd say they're probably 2 of the players that you look towards to pick up the frags for this lineup. So not really a good position for them to be in here early on in a pretty important round. It definitely looks like Outcast should be able to take themselves up to an 8-0 lead, unless a bit of a miracle can happen here for the Allied side. There is still a good bit of utility in play. That's a positive. 3 smokes. There was a nade. It was thrown out by Mylant, and it does find success over towards Remes. So maybe a little bit of an opening now being given towards them. As you can see, it's only one player around this B area for the Allied side. That's Rejects, and he's going to begin to rotate back over now to hook up with his teammates. And they're going to bring it on towards that A-bomb site. The issue is Hacker Sky. He's ready to hold it down. They do also have Suma nearby, ready to give the assistance once the push is actually confirmed. And indeed it will be now, because the bomb is being tapped. They're looking to try and bait out these peaks, because there is still some decent time to work with. Leisure knowing that if they just get this bomb down now, it'll probably continue like it has before, where they just continue to get overwhelmed on the retake. Hacker Sky pushed up close, finds the second hip fire and into the door, and Suma gives him the help when he needs it. 8-0 is going to be the scoreline right now. Outcast, they're just destroying Leisure. It's like a leisurely stroll for them.
Yeah, and it's not really one player stepping up, it's one player each round stepping up. Like previous round, we had Remes stepping up massively with the 3K. Now you got Hacker who stepped up with a 3K, and it's been a similar story. Like a different player steps up into a round, and they'll be just getting these multi-frags at Leisure. Just not getting the refrags. We not see them hit their shots like they did in the Epic playoffs. So they need to start waking up, start hitting their shots a little bit. I know in practice they've been struggling a little bit, because I remember seeing in Climax's stream yesterday the signs of strain there. Hopefully they can start waking up a little bit into this map, as there's not really many rounds left on this particular map.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking very likely that they're going to be able to pull it back into Derailed, because I don't see Outcast's performance dropping off the face of the earth right now. They've been playing extremely well, so even if Leisure do step it up, I feel like it may just be back and forth in rounds, even from that point forward. So definitely a little bit worrying right now. A kill does get pulled back by Rejects over towards the B-bomb site, though, and as you can see, everyone for Leisure is set up to try and commit in off the back of it. Upper cinema control, lower cinema control, and pretty much the bomb site as well now, as the bomb should be getting planted. A 4-on-4, though, we've seen so many times a retake where it's equal manpower for either side, and we've just continued to see it go in favor of Outcast. As I say that, though, Headbangery, quick kill towards Caesar and towards Dark, so a man advantage will be found. 40 seconds left on the bomb now for Outcast to work with.
And they're going to try and make sure that these seconds are going to last like they did in the previous round, where they just clutched it. Finally, they're pushing in. Reese's there to meet them, and he does get that first frag. That's all he got low. Luckily for him, he does have teammates. Rejects him to follow up. He didn't get the second one, but it's actually Mylan, and it's a good first round for them. After perhaps they should be having a little bit more than just one in my eyes, especially since we saw them having such a great start. You had that second round where they probably should have arguably won that round. I think fourth round as well, probably should have won it. So really, we should be seeing a little bit closer scoreline, but Outcast has just been really good in the clutch situations. And
Yeah,
they still have a pretty good buy in this one.
Yeah, it actually is pretty solid. Utility lacking a little bit, but considering they lost the previous round, it's pretty good. Let's see if Leisure can keep this up, though. Will they be able to pull some rounds off the back of that previous one? If they can bring it up to 4 at halftime, that's not the worst position to be in. I mean, sure, they had a very poor start, but there's still the chance for them to redeem it. As I said, though, Caesar with the nade taking down Fuckerman. Valhalla aggressive in towards Cinema, already finding one and notifying his teammate that there is another nearby. As I say that, though, Reese peeked in towards Upper, I believe, and found a quick kill. And Rejects getting that rotation in through Cinema. It's still a man advantage, though, in favor of the Axis side. Caesar, the one that's left on this B-bomb site. Rejects just creeping around. Manages to catch him, and I believe has a bit of an inkling about what's happening there with that mid-rotation. Almost got caught off guard completely, though, and went down either way. Here we go, 50 seconds remaining. The bomb yet to be brought onto that bomb site itself. There is still Hacker Sky, I believe, that's nearby, so if they want to advance in towards B, they're going to have to deal with him. And I like that Remes is actually rotated back around to work with his teammate, because you can see the second Leisure spotted that player pushed up on mid. They're looking to try and find them. Yeah,
and Leisure just looking to maybe just play off each other. I think Hacker might be having some sort of situation, but they actually go back towards B, which they will know Remes is there now. So they do spy him out, but they need to get this bomb down quick. Rejects a lot to do to try and cover his teammate, but it's Hacker who goes in, gets that first frag. Luckily for him, it is traded. Ooh, Remy's through the smoke, able to find rejects, and it is 9-1 as Outcast again wins a clutch situation. And looking at Leisure, we're seeing some of the names not really stepping up big. You know, you got Fuckerman, 5-10. Ed Barrington was also a name which stepped up massively at Epic, but he's low a little bit. We've seen him hit some shots, but not many compared to what we've seen at Epic. But we are going to have a tech pause, as I think some of the players are lagging.
Yeah, hopefully something that isn't going to last too long. But, I mean, yeah, I don't think in a position like this when it's 9-1 scoreline that you can critique anyone too individually.
Yeah.
It does at this point kind of have to be a complete team collapse to be down 9-1. I mean, not that they're bad. I just mean right now what they're doing is not working. It's not about one player
Yeah.
individually. I mean, if they had a couple players stepping up and getting frags, maybe it wouldn't look quite as bad, but it still probably wouldn't be a winning performance.
Probably not, but it's just like when you have big names, which normally is the names which you look at to step up massively, and they're just not turning up. That is a losing factor, which you have to take in consideration. Obviously, some of the stuff that's happened, it's been out of their control, and you have to kind of look at those key rounds, those clutch rounds where they just did not win them. And that's the rounds which you have to look at and dissect. I think Hacker is back into the game now, because I think he was the one lagging, because I remember seeing at the start of that round that he was having some walking issues, I would say. But I have looked at Outcast's previous scores in Open League, and they're quite interesting. They won 4, and I believe they lost 4 as well by the looks of things. They became 4th in their group as well, so they just barely made it to playoffs.
All right, then.
They're taking Leisure for a little leisurely stroll, as you like to put it.
Yeah, so you can understand why I said at the start of this game that we have kind of a mismatch, and of course when I said that, we implied that Leisure should be dominating this game. I wasn't completely incorrect when I said we have a mismatch, but it seems to be in the complete opposite direction. Outcast just look like the much better team right now. I mean, the score speaks for it. Even if some of those rounds have been close and could have gone either way, currently it's 9-1 right now. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and you have to look at some of the names on Outcast. You know, Remy's has stepped up big. Hacker's another name, even though his score does say 0 because he reconnected. I think he was on like 12 kills as well. Like 2 players on double figures, and everyone's just stepping up. And finally, when I say people should be stepping up, fucking man, getting that opening kill onto Hacker. A nice headshot, actually, a tough angle. But Leisure still just holding position. See if they can catch any rotating player.
Yeah, Remes did get spotted for a moment over towards A and took a bit of damage, but falling back off to play a bit more passively. Caesar, in the meantime, catching one towards Upper Cinema, but did unfortunately have to give up the bomb site, so the bomb it will be planted. Leisure yet again getting themselves into a decent spot here in terms of the after plant. The only issue is not having the Upper Cinema control. They do have to be very, very wary of that spot. It gives the opportunity for Outcast to push in and, of course, have the allies focused on a couple more angles than they would otherwise be. Myland right now does have the chance to try and win it out against Caesar, but ends up going down. Carbine versus Carbine, but it's Reese to quickly trade back. With that now, a 3-on-2 actually going to be in play because Fuckerman and Rejects both stepping it up. Suma, I don't think he was immediately aware of the second player being up close. It was called over to him though, but as he tries to take the peek, unfortunately not going to connect the shots, and there it is, Leisure finally getting themselves a second round. If they can bring it up to 3, Kaiser, do you believe that there's the opportunity for them to bring it back on the second half?
There is always an opportunity to bring it back in the second half. If you can just switch the momentum into your favor, you can start rolling some rounds. But it's going to be difficult. If not, if they do manage to bring it back, you'd probably see it go into OT. Other than that, Outcast should be winning this map. But this round is so important. It just helps get that momentum going into the second half, and then they have to win the second half first round. Outcast going with something interesting, pushing in Cinema, but fuck him, man! Collateral!
I mean, this works. Myland ends up picking up a double kill as well, catching that aggression, and then Fuckerman finishes it off with the hat trick. 3 at the half time. They do manage to pull it up to a decent position considering what it was looking like initially. I mean, when you're down 8-0, you're probably not thinking you're gonna for sure get the 3 rounds. You're probably aiming for the 3. But the fact that they were able to bring it back, I think they can be somewhat happy. The only thing is they need to start off much better right now on the Axis side. Otherwise, they don't really have the room to work with. There's no room for error right now. They're gonna have to play pretty much flawlessly. Let's see what the goal is over on the Allied side. A few carbines being brought into play. A couple smokes as well. One initially thrown down, of course, to block off that mid-peak. And then with that, I guess kind of taking away the info from the Axis about whether they've crossed over or not. At this point, though, Reese pushed up, I think, maybe able to spot that there's no one around Cinema at the very least. And that does give them a bit of an inkling about what's actually happening right now. You can see they've rotated a 3rd player back over towards A. It's only Caesar at the moment trying to sell somewhat a bit of a fake, I guess, over towards B. I don't even know if that's his goal. I think more so just maybe trying to see if he can catch the rotation, yeah. If anyone pushes forward, set up to try and actually shut it down.
I think they've kind of sold an A fake as 4 players have rotated towards A, and now the 4 attacking players rotating back towards B. And Mylan, he has an important job. He's the only one here, top Cinema, not really the weapon which you want to see in this situation, but you might be able to catch 1 player, and that's going to be Valhalla, as he starts heading up. Valhalla checks it, but Mylan still wins that duel. The bomb will still go down for Outcast.
Bomb planted.
Yeah, let's see if they're going to be able to hold the after plant, though. It was, of course, an issue for Leisure. Reese right now tapping that bomb, trying to see if he could bait anyone out into the peak, and it does work out, but unfortunately gets taken down. Caesar checking that flank as well. Able to, I guess, reject the request of rejects to move in towards that bomb site with that only Fucker Man remaining, and this has been a very clean after plant indeed from Outcast so far. Fucker Man, I don't know if he wants a lot to do with this anymore. He's still sticking around, but there's also a quick flank that's been set up now coming in through mid. So unlikely he survives much longer. I was going to say, I thought he spotted that player right there. Didn't really react to it.
Really good round in Outcast. And I think the main thing which I have to point out is when I think it was Caesar and I think it was Sumax. They both peaked rejects at the end there, which is good team play, which I like to see more from teams. I know a lot of teams are a little bit more confident than individual players, which peak individually. But the fact that they double peaked rejects shows really good signs for them and shows why, in fact, they are in front against this Leisure lineup. But Leisure wants to have anything, they have to step it up massively. They need to answer this back, or else it is map over, and you just have to focus on to the next one.
Yeah, Remes picks up that opening net there, but it will be traded back elsewhere on towards Valhalla. Remes with a quick 1-tap. Headbangery goes down. Suma actually catching rejects as well, and with that now, they're just able to split in towards the say bomb site. Another kill even going in favor of Suma on that Thompson. Suddenly, Mylant is the last man left standing. He's in towards Graveyard. He's now been spotted. And at this point, I was going to say, they should be able to just, if they want to run that bomb back over towards B, and that is going to be the case, they do lose 1 player in the meantime, so maybe a bit of a chance for Mylant, but Gaver up against 3, the bomb getting planted on the other side of the map, still 1 player kind of lurking around so that he has the info that at least that rotation hasn't begun to come in through the spawn, so they can set themselves up now appropriately to that.
Again, really good play again from Outcast. Good mid-round call to head towards B after getting Mylan's position. And this should set him up for the 11th round, because I doubt he can do anything, but he is trying to give a good effort. Nice headshot from Mylan onto Hacker. I don't see him winning this round. There's no way.
Yeah, no, I don't imagine he's going to be allowed to. They know he's not on the bomb right now. He is pushing forward. Suma just continuing to hold, of course, because Caesar had peeked out and spotted that he begun to move in that direction. So 11-3 now. 1 more to, at the very least, confirm overtime here under Railed for Outcast. And at that point, of course, they'll have themselves 9 chances to close it out. But the buy for Leisure right now isn't horrible. It is pretty decent. So let's see. If they can get it now, if they can start building up the rounds, maybe they can do it. Maybe they can still pull it towards overtime at least. I mean, dropping 1 round out of the next, what is it they need? The next 10. 1 out of the next 10. That's the best they can do if they want to bring it into overtime. 9, yeah. But I don't really see it happening.
No, but they do have a good boost up towards A, having headbangery over. Oh, actually, it's not. I thought it was.
Rejects, I believe
Judging-
that's on top of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
I don't think he spotted that player out of tank. Now he did. Jumping up the tree, obscure in the vision just a small amount. He has been spotted himself now. Not able to capitalize immediately on that kill. And I was going to say he probably should have just fell back off. Otherwise, he leaves himself open to just so many different angles. And it's actually a player that he hadn't even spotted up to that point that peeks out and kills him. So he should be aware of the fact that there is 3 at the very least around this position. So with that, the rotation rather, it already has come in. But in the meantime, the bomb has made its way back around over towards B now.
And this is what I was talking about. The mid-round calls for Outcast have been very, very good. They've rotated towards B where there's no one there. Reese sees the closest one, and Caesar just reads him, takes him out very easily, and keeping that man advantage into their favor. And it's all up to Mylan. Again, and you can't just leave it up to one player to try and clutch things out. Of course, he's not going to be able to succeed this, but seeing him put up a good fight in the previous round, maybe he can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe saving the SDG could be the better idea, though, and I think he's already decided on that, giving himself a little bit of a chance in this next round to put up a fight. But as we said now, it's going to have to be 9 rounds in a row for Leisure if they want to pull it back into overtime. So it's not looking too likely. Of course, though, it's not the end of the road for them. It is a best of 3 after all. Yeah, we do have, let me double check, I believe I have to back up a little bit in the chat. So it is the Railed, of course, that was chosen here by Leisure.
Yep.
Liberation, then
Outcast.
yeah,
The
Liberation.
mana
I
as
was
the
confused
decider.
because it said lib out, and I was like, hang on. Yeah, Liberation then is the second map, and then if needed, mana is the decider. Yeah, the way Kaiser wrote it in the chat just was a little bit confusing. So blame him. That wasn't my fault.
I put pluses in front of them.
Yeah, but then the out part confused me. I was like, hang on a second.
It's a shorthand for Outcast.
But I wasn't thinking of that. All right, it just said out. I was like plus lib out. I was like, that's contradictory. But yeah, no, I mean, the buy again is okay. There's a few SDGs actually in play for Leisure. They have a Gewehr, an MP40, a small bit of utility in play. Myland has a set to work with, but that is the extent of what they have, unfortunately. Oh, Fuckerman just about surviving that nade, I believe that came over. Looked like it landed pretty much on his head.
But I do have to say, Outcast is playing this allied side is very interesting and play quite slow. Most teams like to play it quite fast, using their nades to keep players out from the B site and then taking the B heavily. But they've been pulling out fakes and really confusing Leisure. And you have to give them props for that.
Oh, Reese putting in a little bit of an effort here to try and recover the round for Leisure. Has actually pulled it back into a 3-on-3. A player up closer on the top of mid as well. Probably going to be... Oh, no, he's actually in the little alley, isn't it? Yeah, so fortunately mid, I believe, not being watched at the moment. Headbanger able to catch 1 kill onto Valhalla either way. That was creeping up towards that A-bomb site. And with that, the remaining 2 players for Outcast now. They have a chance to maybe catch Headbanger off guard. As I say that, though, he decides to avert his attention. Will the trade be found? Not quite right there by Hacker Sky. Tried to jump in on the M1 Garand. So a good hold. Headbanger able to take himself 3 in that round, but 8 more to go if they want to just send this one into overtime. There's a long battle ahead of them.
A long battle indeed. But right now, I would just say just stack out as many rounds as you can, because very unlikely to get to that 12th round. It's just more likely you can get the momentum on your side for the second map. And of course, Liberation, pretty much the even setting for all the teams should know it by now, off by heart. You have to do so much, but Rejects giving his team a good start into this one. Nade kill onto Hacker. Putting his team in a man advantage. Mylan going aggressive.
And it works out pretty well for him.
Yeah.
Manages to find 2 kills, and also, I believe, spotted the player up there that does actually have the bomb in his possession. Remy's taking a bit of damage. It's Suma who's getting pushed now. Manages to find 1, was pretty much dead. Had no health, but he's given the opportunity to try and regen Mylant, instead deciding to shift his attention back to Cinema, which worked out for him. That flank then going to come in and deal with the final player. A 1-for-1 trade to end it. 12-5. Leisure beginning to pick up a few rounds now. And I mean, even if they don't pull back for the victory right now, it's at least a bit of a chance for them to warm up before we head on towards Liberation.
But that was a much better round from Leicester. You saw them having a little bit more team play, especially at the end there, where Headbangery and Rejects both peaked at the same time on the final player. And you have to bring up props for mine and net defending B side very, very well, taking out 2 players, I believe it was. Maybe actually 3 players. So very
Got the 2 initially, yeah, and then after the push kind of started coming back in again, and then finding one more towards Cinnamon. So yeah, Myland had a very strong round indeed. 1-for-1 trade again, going to be the situation early on. Fuckerman taking down Valhalla, but in the meantime, the nade, it did come in from Remes to drop Headbangery. So it is just a 4-on-4 at the moment. Still plenty of time on the clock with 1 minute and 10 seconds. And Outcast, they lost this player over towards A Long, and they're looking to see if they can maybe pull something back. I don't think Hacker Sky wants to try and tempt fate again. They did actually spot the player back towards the, what's that called exactly? Tram? Okay. Wasn't 100% sure. Oh, Mylan taking a very aggressive peek. Gets pushed down by 3 players. He did at least find 1 before getting dropped, but I mean, that was a risky one.
And it was a very messy spray. You probably could have got at least 1 more in that situation, but too many targets always confuses you. But they have rotated all the remaining players on Leisure towards this B site, as it does seem like it's going to be a B hit. No more smokes left for Outcast, so they just have to win their individual aim draws. But Fuckerman still has a smoke, as well as a few more nades. As they're getting some info. It seems like they're just going to allow Outcast to take the site and retake.
Looks to be the case. Oh, the nade going in didn't quite manage to stop the bomb plant. Reese going to push forward either way and finishes off Remes up close. Knows there's another player that was tagged in lower cinema, but doesn't want to overextend at this point because they do still have the man advantage. They're looking to try and work together. Still a lot of time on that bomb as well. Hacker Sky just being baited away at the moment, knowing he has the M1 Garan. The final 2 bullets will connect, able to get the reload in as well, but eventually goes down to reject. So with that, it's all onto Caesar now. He is just going to be hiding in the smoke at the moment. Over in upper cinema, I believe this is indeed, but he's getting pushed on the steps, manages to drop rejects. And at this point now, Caesar, he may have this. Fucker was just forced to push him down and still manages to just about find it. Unfortunately, wasn't able to escape back to safety. If he was able to just run around the corner, that would have been perfect, but he wasn't sure if Fuckerman was actually already up close to the door or not. I think he had actually kind of fell back down the steps a little bit, so was a bit delayed on the push. But yeah, again, another round gone in favor of Leisure here now. 3 in a row, I believe.
Yeah, but you have to give props for Outcast. They did very well, very, very well in that round, and he's almost clutching, and that shows just a little bit of holes that's in this Leisure lineup for me. They're just not so much coordinated as we saw on land. They need to be gelling together a little bit more. As it seems like it's going to be a quick B push from Outcast. 2 players for Leisure are here. Reese already pushed into Cinema. Might be able to get 1 player, but been caught off guard from Valhalla, and he's unable to get that frag. Leaving Mylan, who falls to the nade.
That's the issue.
This is where it finishes.
Yeah, this is the issue. When you don't have the rounds to work with, when something like this happens, which it may. Sometimes you just get unlucky. You get caught by a couple of players. Not a lot you can do about it. You just don't have the room for any of those errors to be made. And with that now 5 on 3, Outcast, or rather Valhalla, spotting the player coming in from behind right there. It was Headbangery who goes down, and with that, Outcast put in a great position to just go ahead and close out this opening map right now. Unless they make some serious mistakes and give the kills over, you don't see much of an opportunity. And even as I say that, Valhalla just spamming the smoke, able to take down rejects. The nade goes in towards upper. I don't think he expects the player to push him so quickly. As I say that though, Fuckerman does decide to fall back off and reapproach again from the upper cinema position instead. Gonna try and push forward, and emphasis on try because there wasn't really much hope.
And that is the first map done, going in favor to Outcast. Very, very good performance from them. 13-6. Dominating first half, where they only lost 3 rounds. And again, only lost 3 rounds in the second half. I would, if I was Leisure right now, I'd be a little bit scared.
I definitely would. Coming onto their map choice now for Outcast, I mean, even if it's a map that Leisure are definitely able to play with after that first map performance, rather, you do have to be a little bit worried because Outcast, they look to be fragging a lot better. It looked like they were working off of each other a lot better as well. I mean, I'm worried, but that doesn't really matter, does it? We're just going to have to
No.
wait and see, Kaiser. We're going to have to go ahead and wait until after what we do have coming up, which is going to be a quick break, guys. So don't go anywhere. We will be back as soon as these players are ready to hop on into map number 2. Welcome back, everyone. We did just witness, of course, a 13-6 victory for Outcast over Leisure back on Derailed. And now coming on to Liberation, we'd have seen a knife round at the very least going in favor of Leisure, so they should be able to kick it off on the Axis side, which is what they've gone for. Kaiser, do you believe in this, though? Do you think they can pull this back? Do you think they can take it to a third map? Can they bring it onto Manor, and can they get the victory there? Or are we looking at an Outcast series right now? Because they looked very impressive back on map number 1.
That's the thing. We know the Leisure can do this. Like we saw them at Epic, they definitely have the capabilities and they definitely have the skill to be able to bring this back. But if we see the same Leisure that we saw in Derailed, it's very unlikely, but they could at least try and make it close, which is an interesting play which we got here down B long with Reese on the floor. Got, I believe, Rejects covering it. This sort of play could actually work if the timing goes in their favor. If time doesn't go in their favor, it will not work.
Yeah, and initial trades actually are going to go in favor of Outcast right now. Able to find themselves a man advantage over towards that B side of the map, and currently I believe the only player really in a position to try and hold it down is up and towards Heaven. They could put a smoke down if they wanted over towards the Arch. Unfortunately, don't actually have one to work with. They've gone for the carbines at the moment, so waiting really, I guess, to see if Leisure are going to give them the opportunity to try and find another kill before they try and get this bomb planted. Because in a 3-on-4, getting that bomb down is still going to be a very difficult time. Oh, they do actually have one smoke. Okay, there we go. That's going to be thrown down towards Heaven. That works quite effectively. Headbangery, in the meantime, does catch that lurker over towards A. As I say, that fucker man just goes straight through the smoke, managing to find one before going down. Most importantly, though, delaying the bomb plant and now leaving it in a 2-on-2.
Bomb planted.
Yeah, this 2-on-2 can definitely favor Leisure if they can just catch some players sort of play together. And they are pushing in together. Hacker with a nice headshot onto Headbanger. Just leaving Mylan alone. They need to find 2 airs to try and win this, and Hacker again. Oh, Mylan is not happy about that.
No, it's it's another good start here for Outcast, though. Picking up the opening round. Of course, I believe they had an 8-0 lead to kick off Derailed. I hope for Leisure's sake that isn't going to be the same case here. Especially with Leisure being on the Axis side.
Exactly. At least they are starting on the Axis side now, so they can try and change some rounds. Be difficult for them to win this second round with the lack of utility and weapons, but it does seem like they're trying to play retake with those 2 nades, and Fuckerman falling early, that's not what you want to see, and Rejects needs to stay alive because he's got one of those nades. Just waiting for that nade to land, but the nade does land, but doesn't catch any players off. And the second nade lands. Again, no players, and they really need those nades to work for this strat to work, and it doesn't. But Headbangery managed to bring it down 1. Frag still going in favor for Outcast.
Yeah, and right now, 25 seconds only remaining on that bomb for Reese and Mylan to try and actually get these kills and then get that defuse as well. Trying to force the issue on towards the remaining allied players. Does not work out in their favor, though. Reese went down initially there to the hip fire from the MP28. And then the final kill also being found. So 2-0 for Outcast. The money for Leisure is decent. I mean, averaging between 4 and 5 tokens. So they probably will go for the investment. As you can see, that is the case. But utility-wise, on the players at least who wanted to get the proper weaponry out, is not great. A smoke there for Fuckerman. We have a smoke and a nade for Rejects, a nade for Reese as well. Both nades being thrown out very early on, so let's see if they find any success. A nice advantage wouldn't hurt them, but unfortunately it doesn't really get much done. Looking like a much quicker round as well right now from Outcast, straight over towards the A-bomb site instead, so a bit of a switch-up. And it does manage to catch Headbangery off guard right there, that nade from Remez. Mylan up close, not expecting 2 more players to be just on the other side of that wall. Or rather, at least trying to force the issue before they just pushed him in either way in that corner. Rejects does find one nice kill there onto Caesar, who was lurking around Marcus. So ends up in a 3-on-3. Bomb going down, of course, already.
Did seem like he wanted to try and throw an nade. Now he finally has. Onto that A side, could actually catch a player off guard. Sumax, but doesn't land exactly where he wanted it. Now he has to find his play. He knows he wants to play a triple, but he's got that shotgun, which just proves so deadly in close range. Now it's all up to Fuckerman, who has managed to get himself on site. Just can't do anything there, as Outcast will win their third round. And a costly round for Leisure, as they do lose all those weapons which they invested so much into. And it seems like they're going to try and invest even more into this one, as Reese buys an SCG. See 2 more SCGs spur up, make that actually 4 in total, and only 3 smokes. So no nades to try and slow down this attack, which they definitely do need, as you saw how fast they were going into trip one. Now they're trying to speed things up down mid, which Fuckerman was ready for, but he's only good for 1 kill. Luckily, Mylan's there to get that second kill, get his team that advantage that they've been lacking in these last few rounds.
Yeah, as you say that though, Leisure begin to kind of dominate this round right here. Reme is actually the last one left standing, and he's very quickly dealt with by Reese. So that was a great hold and a quicker round there going in favor of Leisure. So they are able to get one on the board a lot earlier on Liberation. It's a much better sign. It took them quite a while to really warm up at all back on the first map. The buy should still be pretty decent though from Outcast. As you can see, the scope's still available. A little bit lacking in terms of the firepower in order to get some utility out, but it is still decent. On the other hand, it's looking a lot better for Leisure. This is probably one of the best buys we've seen them have in the series so far.
Yeah, Fuckerman did try and go for that mid peak, but he's been smoked out in both angles that he wanted to beacon, and I think we are going to see it be here. And that bomb is towards A site. Remy's almost getting Minor. Now Minor's in a tough situation. Has to smoke himself out to get out of that situation. And he does manage to get out of it with his life. This is the most important thing in these early rounds. You want to try and keep so many players alive. So later on, when they finally do attack on the site, you have the advantage. And Barry taking it ahead of Caesar gives them that advantage.
Yeah, nice kill early on going in their favor. It looks like the Outcast side, for the moment at least, they're going to just remain in a bit of a default holding and waiting to see if anyone is going to give them a chance on that Leisure side. Leisure already having the advantage though, and being able to extend it now even further off the back of that kill for Fuckerman shouldn't really be too pushed and going forward. Kind of surprised Mylan decided to take a little bit of a peek there from the window, I guess, hoping that he'd catch someone in a bit of a rotation after them, of course, actually getting that kill on towards Valhalla. But that was not the case, of course, so 1 kill at least being brought back for Outcast. The 3-on-4, the only issue is there's not a lot of time left for them to work with. 25 seconds. That bomb is, I believe, being brought over towards the A bomb site. The only issue is there's a sniper on the back street, and then there's a player playing around the bomb site itself as well. As I said it, though, Fuckerman begins to rotate. So it is going to come down to, I believe that is Headbangery that's playing up close, and indeed, yeah, manages to find one. Does a good bit of damage on the second, and it's the nade in the end to actually come back down. I hadn't swapped to him by the point that he actually threw that nade, so I had completely no idea. Assuming the last man standing is going to be spotted in the market. Of course, time already expiring. His own nade almost taking him down, taking a similar approach to Headbangery, but it actually ended up costing him his life.
What an amazing round from Headbangery. He gets an initial kill at the start of the round, giving his team an advantage. Getting the first kill as they pushed onto the site, which is so important with the time lacking, and that nade just landing and exploding at the exact right time. Get that final kill after he dies. Really, really great play from them. And it's that type of play which you need to see more from Leisure if they want to win this game. Win this series, I should say.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they can kind of put that previous map out of their mind and just be able to have a bit of a fresh start here on Liberation, and then bring it onto Manor, where hopefully they will be able to do the same for their own sake. Although, of course, it's nice to see Outcast playing very well also. I'd definitely like to see what they could get done on LAN. Of course, Victory LAN coming up. That probably wouldn't be too difficult for them to get to.
It probably isn't too difficult, and I believe now that Leisure's actually giving them full support. So that's even more interesting, the fact that some orcs are still hanging around giving the support to this game, which I think most of the players can say they love.
Rejects picking up the opening kill. Suma also taking quite a bit of damage there. Continues to fight out, but they will actually try and push forward. Emphasis on try, because Myland up close on the wall was able to find himself a couple of rejects as well. Coming in with a quick triple kill. It was actually Myland down mid, sorry, other way around.
Yeah.
Myland took down the attempt to split in, and it was rejects up close on the wall that just completely destroyed any hope of pushing into the bomb site. My dog is barking because the door knocked. Apologies.
I'm sure it's fine. because I could barely hear it. But what an amazing round from Rejects. And man, Rejects just gained 3 frags, so close in such a one-off position as well. The fact that he managed to get 3 in that one-off position is really good, and it just goes to let's just bring some of the team play back into it. Mylan spamming through the wall, helping him a little bit further. And again, it's that type of stuff which we'd like to see. And now we're seeing the nades land and getting those kills. As fucking man gets his first of the round. 4 in total. As I think at the top of the scoreboard is actually 3 players on 5 kills. I that 4 because there's 1 on the other team. But fuckman again gets another kill onto Valhalla. At this point, you don't want to lose any players. So let's just play the numbers advantage.
Oh, as you say that though, a couple of peaks do end up coming in. The nade from Rejects keeps it in an equal position at the very least up until the point where Fuckerman is able to actually bring the advantage back once again for Leisure. It leaves Hacker Sky now in a 1 versus 2. He's been playing pretty well so far. Had a good first map. He's currently sitting at 8-4 as well. The only issue is the smokes go down perfectly to block him off from really being able to get much done. He may have to attempt to try and push through. They're not sticking the bomb at the moment. Of course, he's not going to be aware of this. Manages to take down Myland. Gonna fire off that final shot in the mag so that he can get the reload in. Pushing up close, and the smoke though gets taken down. Fuckerman comes out on top of the 1 versus 1 with plenty of time left to defuse. An important round going in favor of Leisure as they take themselves the lead for the first time in the series, let alone the map.
Yeah, and it just went back onto Fuckerman. A more amazing round from him, getting those first 2 kills. One with I think actually 2 kills with the nade, I believe. Because he got 1 early on into the round, and I think he picked up a nade and got 1 on the retake. If I remember right. Probably wrong, knowing me. But really
I'm not
good
100% sure either. I did definitely see a nade kill coming in towards the retake, but I thought it was from Rejects.
It could
I
have
might
been
be wrong
Rejects.
though. We could both be wrong.
He did manage to get 4 kills, okay. And actually, he falls to a nade. Talking about nades.
Had no chance of running, I seen that. He unfortunately stepped around the corner, the nade pretty much directly hit him, and he was gone. Bit unfortunate. A player who's been so important for them being taken down early on for Leisure is not a good position to be in. Myland right now knows that there's a player above him, does just about spot it, but it's the shotgun actually in the hands of Hacker Sky. So up close, it takes him down in 1. Headbangery behind the smoke, trying to see what he can find. In the meantime, Rejects did actually pull 1 back, and then a nade from Reese as well, going to be able to get a kill. Didn't stop the bomb from actually being planted, and unfortunately doesn't stop the remaining Outcast players from being able to use their guns successfully, because it's only Headbangery that remains. His position is known, and they just ensure that they peek him together, 4-4.
Yeah, and what an amazing round from Hacker, who managed to get 2 kills with the shotgun. Very, very successful, and I think he did get a 3rd. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to see. Yeah, he only got 2 kills with the shotgun, which is really, really useful. You don't really see the shotgun being played too much lately. I did see the shotgun a lot last night, though, in a pug against Mark, of all people. That was quite annoying. And it was on this map as well, so shotgun is definitely viable on this map.
Yeah, lots of close-range positions.
Yeah.
There is certain maps where it's not going to work out too well for you. Like Coastal, sure, there is close-range positions, but when you're rotating, then you're completely screwed if you run into someone. Right now, yeah, 4-on-4. 1-for-1 trade early on. Hacker Sky taking himself a 2nd. The only issue is, in the meantime, the remaining Leisure players do continue to frag. So Hacker Sky and Valhalla, all that remain, left in a 2-on-3. The bomb currently dropped, I believe, on the division of Fuckerman. He should be aware of it. It's down just behind that little fence right there. Ooh, needs to be cautious taking that long range fight against an SDG. I mean, long range, considering what weaponry he actually has to work with. Has an SDG himself, but he peeked it with the shotguns.
But look at Valhalla sneaking all the way in spawn. Surely he should be able to spot out Headbangery. He's watched it, and Headbangery wins it. He's knowledgeable enough that he could come from the flank, and now it's all up to Hacker with that shotgun and trying to stay long range to make sure he can't get him this time. But a good answer back from Leisure, keeping 4 players alive, getting that economy up. But too bad they can't really get that weaponry, since many of the players on Outcast didn't really have that good weapons to pick up from.
Yeah, Hacker Sky had an SDG they maybe could have retrieved, but unfortunately had the shotgun when he went down, so a little bit unfortunate.
Oh.
Considering he had the SDG as well, it was interesting he stuck to the shotgun, knowing that there could have been someone a little bit further back in Graveyard.
Ooh.
Must not have expected it.
I have never seen this angle before. He's being boosted up from spawn, and you can see all the way to B side.
Yeah, I want to look at this right now. Unfortunately, oh, there we go. Okay, Reese jumps into it. He's gonna be like, "What has happened?" You can tell Outcast have definitely put time into this, and this is why I said I'd like to see them at Atlanta. I want to see what they're gonna be able to do, because they're looking really good right now against Leisure, of course, who just placed third at Epic. The first map was convincing. The second one has been scrappy so far, but they are on the Allied side. So if they can keep trading these rounds, just keep grinding out on the Allied side, if they even just get one more, I feel like they'll be in a pretty good position. Let's see, a 4-on-3 right now does favor Leisure. So Outcast on the back foot at the moment, even with that kind of the kind of trick they had there from the spawn.
Yeah, and those three, they actually took 3 players to do that trick. Luckily, they have managed to bring it back to a 3 versus 3. But it was really cool seeing that, and the fact that it worked as well, even more perfect. But now they're actually attacking on the B site, and there is still player Fuckerman on top, and Mylan in B arch doing even more damage. Eka trying his best to peek it, and he actually gets that frag onto Mylan, making it a 1 versus 2. But Fucker really should be getting this, yes, he will. As now it is 6-4, the lead increasing for the as they finally gain their stride. That was an amazing angle. Never seen that before. Like, it took 2 people to boost him up into that position and to keep him there. So it's a very costly boost to do it, but it did work slightly in that round.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue. You kind of have to give up a lot of map control early on, just because it takes so many players to put someone up there. But it worked out in that situation, kind of, for them to get 1 kill. Didn't work out in the overall aspect, though, of course, because they lost a couple of players in the meantime. So, yeah, maybe it could work another time. The only issue is that they've shown it now. Yeah. Headbangery spotting a couple players there pushed up towards A. Smoke gonna go down. Fuckerman did find a kill, so it is the man advantage, at least for Leisure, to work with, but at the moment, looking like they may be forced to give up the actual bomb site itself. And Hacker Sky, he's just loving this shotgun. He's making it work. He's lurking around, letting his teammates do the kind of all the stuff that requires you to take any sort of range. He's just gonna lurk and wait for someone to try and get in behind them. As I say that, for some reason my game tabs out.
It's all up to Valhalla as he will strike out and hopefully secure his place in fire as he does fall. As it is 7-4 as Leisure. Looking the team that we expected them, really. But Hacker Sky again, proving why the shotgun can be still deadly on this map.
Bomb defused.
Yeah, able to only get 1 in that round, unfortunately. Well, only Rame's fragging as well, getting himself 1, of course, not being enough for them to pick up the round. But it's still a spot here coming into the last round where if you do see Outcast pick up this final round at a half, having 5 on the board is pretty decent. 4 isn't terrible, but I think they do want to try and find 1 more, considering they kept this so close early on in the half. Leisure at this point have begun to build themselves up a little bit of momentum, picking up a few in a row.
Ooh, Nade's almost catching Valhalla out with the scope. Why did you want to try and peek this Ivy? They're letting they finally do smoke it off. They're letting some time as they try and get some B control and Racy through the smoke, able to get 2 frags before a trade does come in, as Hacker Sky is again the one which is doing all the damage for Outcast in this map.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be one that's putting up the frags the most consistently. Reese over on the other side as well, having a decent performance right now, at least in the game keeps tapping itself out. It's really confusing. Overall, I mean, he is down on the bottom of the scoreboard for Leisure, but everyone is contributing. Yeah. You kind of have Fuckerman and Reject standing out a little bit at the moment, and then everyone else doing their job. Still being effective when needed. Bit of damage being put on towards Caesar there. He was spotted creeping up towards A by Headbangery, and with that immediately just beginning to fall back off. As you can see, Outcast, they're looking to try and bring it in towards this B-bomb site. That's the goal. Smoke's going down. There is a couple players nearby. I believe there's one in towards Dark. I think that's Reese. Yeah, it's going to be tough for them to try and actually deal with him. Smoking it down towards it. As I say that, though, Hacker Sky coming in, managing to get the wall bang onto Reese, who is not too happy, although he does say haha in the chat. Don't believe it. Caesar catching himself one, and now it's all on the headbangery. Left in what was a 1 versus 3. Gets the first, of course. Smoke goes down towards the bomb, pushing in. The sniper taking the shot. He's just looking to try and stick it. Getting spammed down, though, by Hacker Sky. It will be 7-5 at the halftime.
20 kills for Hacker Sky.
Halftime.
20. The closest person on his team has 8.
Yeah, no, he's in full carry mode right now.
Living up to
hang on,
his name.
let me say something. The frag disparity right now for Leisure between the bottom and the top fragger is 6 frags.
6.
Frag disparity right now for Outcast between the bottom and the top
12.
fragger is 19.
Oh,
Caesar,
yeah, 19,
Caesar has
'cause
1.
Caesar's 1.
Yeah. And then Remes also has 3. So that'd be a 17 frag disparity between the two. So, yeah, a little bit of a carry right now. Hacker Sky, his shoulders might be hurting. His back, maybe. I just hope
My
he's lifting
shoulder.
correctly.
But I think that's because I'm getting old. But Hacker Sky is in dark with a teammate, and if he can carry on that first half performance in the second half, it'll definitely cause some trouble for this Leisure lineup, as they are looking towards the B side. Bomb is a little bit indecisive, as there is 1 minute left on the clock.
Ooh.
Ooh. Long
Yeah,
range
nice kill.
gun kill.
Valhalla was caught off guard there, going to be the mid and tried to escape. Thought he was safe and ended up just getting hit by 1 more bullet through the little wooden panel, rather. Trade is brought back in the meantime by Hacker Sky. I mean, would you expect any less? He's currently sitting at 21-8. The wallbang coming into dark now as Leisure try and give them a little bit of their own medicine from that previous round. Basuma is still alive, although Fuckerman found 1. There's a second who can continue to just be a nuisance right now. The only issue is he's being spammed from all angles. The wood, unfortunately, not the greatest to cover. He still gets the kill on Reese. How is this man still alive? He delayed for so long. That flank was able to come in, and yeah, I don't know. Just a great job staying alive in dark and managing to actually get a kill right there. 2 kills rather, because he found Fuckerman and then found Reese as well. That is heartbreaking for Leisure. 6-7, 1 round in the difference. The buy isn't going to be great here for Leisure. I mean, they can still definitely make it happen, but you would favor the Axes coming into this round to try and equalize a 7-7.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's a really good round from Outcast. As now Leisure's looking a little bit lost, but they are going for a quick triple push, but the smoke not being good, so Hacker Sky does spot him. Not hitting his shots this time, look. As it is going to be a full A push, and everyone's still alive at the moment. Till then. Rejects, falls. Remy's on site doing his best, managed to take down 1, trying to go for the knife, but headbangery a little bit too quick for him, gets that frag. And it's all up to Fuckerman. That was close.
Yeah, no, coming down to the wire yet again. Fuckerman was almost able to pull off the 1 versus 3 in the end. I don't think he was able to even get any damage though towards the final player, unfortunately. Being overwhelmed, that is what happens. Fuckerman continuing to do what he can, sitting up there at 16 the killed, but I mean it looks measly compared to the 21 of Hacker Sky right now. 7-7. I mean, when on paper though, you should expect this. You do expect this to be very close, because although there is a 21 frag player over on Outcast, there is also a couple players who are trailing behind quite heavily. I mean, there's Mylan and Reese not having great games right now, but they're not on quite the same level. So it's kind of Hacker Sky making up a little bit more for his teammates' lack, I guess, of playing this one. In the previous map, everyone looked good for Outcast, so it's not like they aren't capable of it. Oh, Fuckerman able to catch Valhalla though, peeking in from the mid window. Very nice opening kill to be found. Still quite a lot of time on the clock as well for them to work with, so they're not in too much of a rush with 1 minute and 10 seconds, but it seems like they are going to try and favor over towards A with that bomb. Remes and Hacker Sky finding a headshot each. With that, the man advantage being pulled back in favor of the Axis side instead.
This now is a 4 versus 3 man advantage back in favor. Outcast as Caesar managed to get his 4th kill of the map. And spots out some extra information at the bomb carrier, which he doesn't know, as we shoot back into Graveyard. This is actually a pretty good hold. If Regis could actually get Sumexo, it would change the game. No smokes left on Leisure, so they just have to go for pure aim duels, which Outcast doesn't really need to give them.
No, not with so little time remaining as well. All they need to do is keep kind of baiting in for the peaks, allow everyone to peek in as soon as the fight is actually taken. And there it is. Suma, he just manages to take both remaining. Caesar rather gave him a bit of assistance with the damage, of course, but that's how it works. 8-7. The lead being reclaimed now by Outcast for the first time in quite a while. When they were up like 4-3, I believe, was the last time they had the lead. So starting off well here on the second half, being on the Axis side now, having a round advantage, putting Team Leisure in a position where they're going to call in the tactical pause to have a bit of a discussion.
I think it's a technical pause from Outcast.
Oh, okay. Still, that's a positive for Leisure. They get to have a bit of a bit of extra discussion about what's going wrong. They get to think about their buy and prioritize maybe the utility a little bit more, which seems to be the case. I feel like if this pause didn't come in, we probably would have seen a bit less utility and maybe some of those players just buying up the slightly better weaponry.
Yeah, and the pauses always help. Like I remember speaking to some of the players at Epic, they purposely did a pause to throw off their opponents more than to talk between themselves. So this pause could actually help Leisure because it could slow down Outcast, but then again, it could also help Outcast. Like, it could fix that tech issue which they're having, and play out their minds with Hacker Sky getting a 4K. 22 kills. And the person at the lowest has got 4 on his team.
Yep, it's
Yikes.
it's a little bit ridiculous, but as I said before, everyone played pretty well in the previous map. Valhalla looked pretty good, so did Caesar. They're down there a little bit more. Remy's has had his moments as well, so it's not like even though they're playing kind of bad right now, it's not like they aren't capable of stepping it up. Ideally, though, you do want them to step it up a little bit. If Hacker Sky can keep up his current performance and you have them playing consistently as well, then it's real trouble.
It's game over for Leisure at that point, but they have managed to get themselves map control on the B site. Even though they haven't got a kill yet, they should be able to get a pull. But Sumax almost taking out his teammate. He's going through, which actually allows Violent to get that frag. This bomb site is just a mess at this point.
It's crazy. How are we even to follow this? I don't even think the players know what's going on right now, let alone us. Oh, there we go. Valhalla pushes in and catches the bomb again. Yeah, we have the advantage of X-ray, of the smoke tracers as well, catching everything that's going on. We have a kind of an auto-director that swaps as to who's getting the kill, but it still just looks like chaos. It's like an Avengers movie or something on this B-bomb site it was. It's Reese and Myland right now, though, left to try and clutch this one out. The bomb will finally be planted. I mean, that was a real ordeal. Pushing in together towards the arch. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Ah.
That's not enough. It was actually only it was a team kill. Yeah.
Team kill.
Still a 1-for-1 trade, technically.
1-for-1 trade in favor of Outcast.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But 9-7, so they increased their lead, and I'm pretty sure after that round, they're just going to have a little bit of arguments what happened there. But it was a very messy round, and it looked like Leisure was going to go out on top, but they just could not get that bomb down. Each time they was close, Outcast would just stop it just in time, as they will take the lead. And the Hacker Sky has got an unscoped car, which might face Fire Command's scoped Springfield.
Yeah, I mean that's an exciting battle. That's like when you have that's like 2015 when you had Kenny S versus Guardian on the same server. You wanted to see those scopes going at each other. But let's see. I mean, right now Hacker Sky, Hacker Man, we're gonna call him instead. Hacker Man sounds like a better name. He doesn't have the scope, but I mean he has eyes. It's not a very long ranged map, so he's still able to make that work. He just put on like a pair of glasses, pretends it's a scope, and takes down Reese. Reese's gone. That's a 5-on-4 to favor the Axis side as they look to try and extend their lead up to double digits. It's not looking great early on for Leisure. They've been kind of held back from B. They're all still around this area, to be fair, but they have to be cautious because they don't know if anyone could have got aggressive on A. So they don't know if they're being flanked right now. They don't know if the info is being given to the Axis side, if they could have fully stacked this bomb site or not. It's a little bit awkward. That's a nice nade. No one in the yellow house, though.
Sees up, he's behind the site and could get this frag onto Fuckman, which he does. Spurs getting a second frag, in fact. Only Myland able to take him down, but it's still 2-man advantage for Outcast, as it's all up to Headbanger, who's stuck in smoke and falls as we are getting closer to 2-0. Luckily, if Leisure do lose this map, they are not out of the playoffs just yet. They will go down to a lower bracket, but don't really want to go to the lower bracket early on in the playoffs.
I mean, Leisure, maybe they just like the lower bracket.
Maybe. They did do well in the lower bracket at Epic. Of course, they went down to the lower bracket early on there and managed to get 3rd place. Of course, they never got out of the lower bracket.
Yeah. So that is a bad thing. Ideally, you don't want to get dropped to it.
You rather have the lower bracket as a safety net, not as something which you have to hold on to. And Season Falala making that lower bracket dream a little bit closer as they get that man advantage on their favor. And just look at Outcast. They're just all standing still.
Oh, yeah, I mean, with the man advantage, you don't really need to force the issue. Rejects trying to take a bit of a jump peek there, ends up going down to Hacker Sky on the Car 98, who decides that he wants to join in finally in this round. He had left it up to Caesar in Valhalla previously. He's like, okay, guys, you need some frags too.
And that headbang has pushed onto the site. Spots out Sumax. He's got a B-side control mostly, but that B-arch is always going to be dangerous if that bomb starts to go down, and Mylan is hovering along, and he does have a smoke lead, so they can smoke it off. Even in this in this map, smokes hasn't been too effective at covering their opponents. They've been able to get kills through smoke quite easily so far. But luckily for them, the bomb is down, and it gives them just a slight chance. Of course, that slight chance is negated the fact that Hacker Sky is still alive.
That's always an issue. I mean, that's never going to make things easy, but as we say that, at least the manpower now has been brought into a little bit more of an equal position with Mylant catching Remy's coming in on the flank. So Headbangery and Mylant are what remain to try and hold off this afterplan. Sumido going to be able to catch Headbangery. Mylant, he has now been spotted. The spam going to be coming in. Taking down to roughly half HP, forces him to play a little bit more conservatively in this position. Actually does catch Sumido. Not great on the cover there for Hacker Sky. Trying to use the Car 98 wasn't ideal. Swaps to the SDG, but of course there's no time. He's not able to make this one happen. He's just gonna lie down on the ground and just accept defeat at this point. I mean, JK. There's still a 2-round lead, but in that round at least had to give that one up. The bomb going down, Leisure, the only issue is losing everyone. It's going to cost them a lot to reinvest. They're not going to get a lot of utility if they want to get the solid weaponry back out. You can see a carbine for Reese being forced so that he can get the extra utility. Mylan's able to pull out a Thompson at least. But it's still a pretty good buy. It's still a pretty good buy for Outcast considering they lost that previous round. They do have, I would say, the better of the two.
Yeah, and you also saw Hacker Sky still with full utility and some weapons. He already used a nade already. But luckily for Leisure, didn't catch any of them off guard. Some aggressiveness from Outcast, but luckily no one from Leisure dies, and then no one from Outcast dies as well, so the aggressiveness not really penalized, but it does give some information, and Rejects getting that kill onto Hacker Sky. That's a massive kill to get in this game. This is just holding that bomb triple and gets a second frag. Almost could get a third, and he does. Just leaving 2 players left alive for Outcast. Make that just 1 as it's Sumax alone in a 1 versus 5. A much cleaner round and much desperate round that Leisure needed.
Yeah, it was a necessity for them to pick one up in a clean fashion. If they kept it close, losing 1 round, then they'd be set down to the very little to work with at that point. So let's see how this goes. Suma is still alive, of course, manages to catch 1 player, spots out a rotation going in through the arch as well, but in the meantime, the bomb already being planted on A, so that shouldn't really give him much chance in winning the round, but he is making it a costly one. Manages to drop 2 players, rather, before he eventually goes down to the Car 98 with Rejects, who stepped up in total for a quad kill.
Costly drop, especially when they killed Fucking Man with that scope in hand, which they invested in him. And it seems like they invested him again, as he will pick it up, and this time accompanied by a name. Quite a bit of utility on Leisure. Not so much in our cost, but still pretty decent buy from them. 4 MP40s as well as an SCG. 4 smokes, which use 1 down mid. A few nades. are getting very close in this game. Hacker's almost being brought down by his headbang. He gets that first frag onto Sumac towards that B side. Could get another one here, but it's Caesar who takes him down. So it's still a 4 versus 3. In fact, Outcast gets a man advantage. Luckily not for long, as Fuckerman is still around, but Remy's, he's proving a little bit disastrous.
Oh. Yeah, needs to be careful. They have the man advantage, so he doesn't really need to be taking this fight right now on his own. As you can see, the bomb is in towards Market. Reject's actually going to go back and try and assist him, and Remy's pushed up into the window. It's not expected. Rejects goes down, and now it's all on Reese. He hasn't been having a great performance, and it would have been difficult for him to step up for the 1 versus 3, but he doesn't really get much of a chance either way. Caesar was lying down on the ground up close to him once he jumped around that corner. 11-9 now. One more for Outcast to at least confirm themselves the overtime. 2 more to take the victory. Of course, they took map number 113 to 6, which I think was a surprise to a lot of people.
Of course, if they do win this, they will face Fat Boys in round 2 of the playoffs. Great name.
Outcast versus Fat Boys, would it be? Is what you said?
Yep.
If
they win this.
I want to see what the teams I'm not familiar with are capable of, so
Yeah.
I'd be looking forward to that one. Headbangery going down early on in this round though. His legs, I believe, were spotted there by the oh no, I'm sorry, that was the other way around. That was actually Suma's legs who were spotted by Reese. The kill on the Headbangery coming in elsewhere on the map, not too sure where that was. But a 1-for-1 trade early on. I don't think Leisure were going to be too upset with that. The issue is Remy's manages to pull another one in their favor, as does Valhalla. Suddenly a 4-on-2 is in play. That player over on Long trying to redeem something for Leisure. But now when he's up against the scope, I don't think he really wanted to take that risky beak anymore. Mylant over on A Long trying to see what he could get done. Did get taken the low health. Going to eventually be able to regen and fall back, but they've got 50 seconds now to work with. Where are they going to bring this?
Good angle from Mylan at least, but he's just not seeing any players. Outcast just tucking deep and dive. When you have a 2-man advantage, you can afford that, and Reese falling make that a 3-man advantage as Mylan is left alone just to make sure that Outcast doesn't make it to 12. But at this point, it's definitely... Well, at this point, it is going to be 12, as it is 12-9. Match and series point for Outcast, which I didn't really expect to say when going into this series.
Yeah, tactical timeout has been called for, as you kind of would expect. I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing it being used a little bit earlier by them. You can see the buy for Leisure as well coming into what could be the final round of this map, and of the series is not going to be amazing. 3 tokens on towards the majority of the players it was. There's 4 then on towards Reese. Mylant, he did have 4 yet, of course, because he was able to get a smoke and a nade alongside his carbines. So let's see how this is going to work out for them. I mean, they've struggled even when they've had the scopes, when they've had all the weapons they could ask for. Fuckerman, one of the players we look towards, or rather the player we look towards to put up the frags, he's going to be put down onto a bar. That's the best weapon they have available.
Of course, the bar is still an effective weapon in right hand. You can go for those headshots, but when you're facing scopes and unscoped cars, it's going to be difficult, especially when you get a collab right off the bat. And possibly the last round to have not looking great.
No, Suma even extending the advantage yet again as Rejects goes down. Headbangery gets dropped. It is all onto Fuckerman over on Long right now. He's already wrote GG.
Yeah.
Yeah, he then jumps out and realizes that he was indeed correct with his assumption of the game being over. There it is, 2-0 for Outcast. They looked impressive. Hacker Sky, especially Suma, played consistent throughout the series. There was a slow start from, I believe it was Remy's and Caesar, but they even managed to step it up in the end. It was just well played by Outcast in general, and as you said, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do now in the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, and they still have a long journey, of course. There's if they do lose, there's a lower bracket to play for, and of course there's still plenty of teams in the upper bracket still in this. So Open League's looking quite interesting. Of course, there is also Premier League playoffs, which still yet to be played. I think London's got Endpoint next. That is an interesting game. And of course, I think today there are some teams playing in the Quick Cups, which that should give some indication of what some of these teams are capable of. But I think me and you are done for today.
Yeah, no, I believe that is it from us. So, guys, if you did enjoy, if you don't already for some silly reason, do make sure you hit that follow button above above your screen. Of course, I suppose the way to put it for the players GG, so you can catch any of the future games that will be going on. And I guess if you enjoyed the commentary as well, you can check out myself and Kaiser. Should be able to just get that to pop up in the chat right there if you type !casters. But that's going to be it, guys. As we said, do make sure you come back for those future games, because I mean, there's a lot of teams that may be able to surprise us. I mean, we just seen that there from Outcast. But that's it. Goodbye, everyone.